The story started by showing a girl who's being harassed by 3 guys. Then another guy interfered, intending to save the girl. His name is Yuya. However, the 3 guys didn't care. They started beating him up while calling him fatso. The cops arrived after a while. However, Yuya is lying on the ground, beaten badly. The girl asked him if he was alright while offering support to help him up. However, Yuya refused, saying that he's alright before walking away while limping. The girl looked dumbfounded, staring at Yuya as he walked into the distance. Yuya remembered his grandfather's words. He still holds on to them, staying kind to everyone around him, especially those in trouble. Despite suffering from abuse since childhood, from his classmates, siblings who never treated him like he was human, and even his parents. And even after all of this, he was still blaming himself. He thought it was his fault for being fat and not looking as attractive as everyone else. But the abuse just escalated, especially after he reached middle school. Throughout all of these, he only had his grandfather, the only person who showed him kindness and treated him as a human, but he even lost him as well. However, before he passed away, he made sure that Yuya would receive all of his properties, which upset Yuya's parents so much that they even disowned him. Due to this, Yuya had to leave alone while working part-time jobs. The scene then changed to Yuya's graduation, and even on this day he didn't get any break from bullying. His notes are just full of insults or messages telling him to get lost. Afterwards, he just tried to get out of the campus. However, the school bullies caught up to him, planning to beat him up as usual. He told them he needed to go to his job to deliver newspapers, but they didn't care as they continued to beat him up. All the students around him just watched or started recording him. Even his siblings looked satisfied watching all of this. Because of this, Yuya couldn't go to his job in time, and his boss didn't hesitate to replace him. He then went home and started eating, having only a single cup of instant noodles for his dinner. While cleaning his bruised face, he couldn't handle everything anymore and broke into tears while punching the mirror. He's feeling hopeless as he thinks that even after graduating, nothing is going to change. But after punching the wall, a hidden door suddenly opened, and he accidentally entered it. He wonders what the purpose of the room was, but after looking around, he remembered that his grandfather used to travel to places around the world, and he always brought back strange souvenirs, which are all hidden in this room. As he continued looking around, he saw a strange door, which he didn't hesitate to open. After entering, he only saw a normal-looking cabin room. However, a status window suddenly popped up in front of him, which greatly shocked him. He's dumbfounded because it indicates that he's in a different world. Feeling skeptical, he went back and forth between the rooms. And when he asked what kind of door it was, the description of the door popped up because of his appraisal skill. It is described as the door that connects the planet to another world. After realizing that he really has the appraisal skill, he tried to check the descriptions of the titles he saw after entering this world. Then he found out that he had gained access to menu functions that were exclusive to him as the master of the door to another world. After realizing that it was exactly like a video game, he tried checking his stats, but he ended up disappointed as everything was 1. He consoled himself by thinking that he'd gained some stats once he leveled up. At the same time, he also wondered if he could use the item box. Then he walked towards the window, curious to see what this new world would look like. Afterwards, he saw a letter on the table behind him. At first, he couldn't read it as it was in this world's language. However, a status window suddenly showed up, indicating that he could now understand all the languages in this world. The message of the letter is that the owner of the house left its ownership before dying, and everything in it will belong to whoever finds it, which in this case is Yuya, so it is now impossible for anyone else to enter. The letter also mentioned the previous owner's title, which is the Sage. Yuya found all kinds of weapons inside the house, but he decided to pick up a sword. However, he got a little scared after appraising it, as it is described as the pinnacle of swords and it could cut through anything. He then proceeded to go out of the house while holding his sword. He tried to swing his sword, but he fell down clumsily instead. However, he still gained the swordsmanship skill, although it is just level 1. He wondered if he gained it through the title he has, but it seems like he figured something out. He hurriedly ran back to the house and took out a spear, then a scythe, then a gauntlet, then a bow, and he only stopped after finally taking out all the weapons inside the house. After gaining a skill through all the weapons, he gained a skill called True Martial Arts, which combined all the martial arts he had gained. Afterwards, he started putting the weapons inside his item box one by one. However, he suddenly saw a monster charging at him, but luckily no one else could enter his house, including the monsters. Even after getting blocked by the barrier, the level 300 monster called the Blood Ogre still didn't stop. It continued punching the barrier before throwing a huge tree at it. Although Yuya is afraid, he thought of attacking the monster, and surprisingly, the spear that he threw punched through a hole in the monster's chest, killing it. Yuya is still shaking from fear after seeing the dead monster, but his status window suddenly showed up, indicating that he leveled up. He also found some materials and equipment that dropped from the monster. Afterwards, he distributed all the stats he gained before going home to rest. But before he could enter the door, another status window showed up, which gave Yuya the option to convert the materials he got from the ogre into cash. He proceeded with it, and he's surprised, as he ended up getting 1,500,000 yen from it. After going back to his world, he suddenly started screaming from pain. His body seems to be undergoing a transformation. The next day, a boy with an excellent physique is shown. It is Yuya. However, he's just dumbfounded as he feels that something weird has happened to his body. But because of his broken mirror, he couldn't check his face, and he didn't bother anymore as he didn't want to see his face for the rest of his life anyway. He also had trouble looking for clothes that would fit him, so he decided to go back to the other world and use the sage's clothes instead. Afterward, he proceeded to go out of the house, and again he felt that something is different. This time his field of vision is higher. He set it aside as he started to water the plants he saw in his yard. He noticed how different the plants are, but he's starting to get used to this world, so he's not surprised anymore. He's also used to the monsters that are trying to attack him, and he just casually killed them before collecting the loot. While checking the loot, he saw a necklace, which is a rare drop, so he used it right away. His level also increased, so he unlocked a new skill that let him sense the presence of others. Afterwards, he converted the loot he got from the slime into money that he's planning to use to buy a new school uniform. He continued spending a lot of his time in the other world, as he enjoyed staying there as time went on. At the same time, his life in the real world also improved. He managed to overcome his fear of school as he tried to find out about the other world. He also trained regularly, and as he stayed longer in this new world, he got stronger and more familiar with the monsters present. His class started again the next day, and like usual, he's still attracting a lot of attention, but this time it's due to the opposite reason. Everyone finds him good-looking now, even thinking that he's a model. His siblings could just stare at him, dumbfounded, and then he proceeded to enter his class and take a seat. However, the school bullies approached him right away, asking if he was a transfer student. But he introduced himself as Yuya, which shocked everyone. He only decided to check his appearance after this, so he ended up shocked as well. His siblings, together with the bullies, had surrounded him. They still don't believe that it's him, as they started questioning him about how he changed so much. However, the girl he saved arrived, also trying to confirm his identity. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and look forward to the next part.